Hello, love, and welcome to BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, the podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. Sape Nindishanakaz. Sape is my name. Oh, I'm so proud to be out here, agutching, outside, so I can announce the show with honesty, because you'll see, that is what we are known for. We are Sape. Some people call us Sasquatch or Bigfoot, but we are known for Guayakwa Diziwin, honesty. So with all honesty and humility, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome NANABOOZHOO.
Oka hey, BOOZHOO, 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 and welcome to BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, the podcast about trippy graphics. Ooh, I told you we shouldn't have eaten those mushrooms first thing this morning. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Welcome to the trippy acid trip, known as the podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. I am NANABOOZHOO, and this is Natasha. BOOZHOO, Kakina! Hello, everyone. And this is Michael Lyons, the rock star cartoonist. Hey, everyone, welcome to the show. How you doing, buddy? Nah, not too bad. So, you wanna talk about last night's online virtual academy appearance? Do you want to talk about it? Yeah, I suppose I could. I did most of the talking after all. So good morning, everyone. Mino Giga Jabe to Jessica Wabooz, the Gold Star Girl, and cousin Missy, the Silver Star Girl. I got gold to silver stars. And Dr. Evils, Mino Giga Jabe, Dr. Evils, coming in third with a bronze. And old Jim is working hard this year. Jim Dunn, good morning. Welcome to the show. We're just kind of hanging out. And what we were talking about? Oh yeah, last night we did our last online Zoom meeting. Last? You really think so? Was it that bad? No, it wasn't bad. So yesterday, if you tuned in, we were kind of freaking ourselves out. We were pretty nervous about having to do this virtual academy online Zoom meeting conference. There's a million ways to talk about this thing, but it's a Zoom call associated with education people that I couldn't be bothered to actually figure out who I was talking to and why. But it was called the Indigenous Pedagogy Virtual Academy. And I was the guest speaker, teacher, lecturer, I guess. Me. And so we basically did a live stream like what we're doing right now. Just kind of like, yeah, okay, here you go. Here's 38 strangers who don't know anything about your show, who all speak some Ojibwe. Go for it. And so I get up there. I'm like, hi, everyone. You know. And we do our bits. And it's kind of like doing a live stream where nobody makes any comments except one great heckle. I mean, mostly it was just BOOZHOO, BOOZHOO, hello. You know, nobody like had laughs or said good morning or anything. It was just us talking to a whole bunch of faces of just no smiles, no children, nothing like that. And then one lady writes in, is this supposed to be funny? I was like, wow. She shoots and she scores. I know, what a great burn. Yeah. There's no defense for that. That was the first time we'd ever been heckled. Because it was sincere. She was like, is this supposed to be funny? Like, yeah, I guess. That is sort of the goal. But, I mean, it was fine, and the people who invited us to do it were very gracious. You know, it was worth the money, I guess. You know, it was only an hour after all. We didn't have to go on for an hour and a half like I thought. But, you know, we couldn't play any songs. We couldn't play any videos. It was just one camera. Well, I guess two cameras. And I got up there and, you know, I talked about kind of what we talked about yesterday, indigenous pedagogy. You know, what is the traditional way of teaching? Well, we got to unpack all this. Okay. What do you mean by traditional? And can you trust what you think you know about so-called pre-boarding school anything? You know, oh, in the Indian way, we taught children this way. Really? Because as soon as they invented boarding schools, we stopped teaching whatever way we did. And we sent our kids along with the government agents and said, yep, do whatever you need to. You know, those parents would have sent their kids to internment camps for contact, COVID, whatever. You know. Don't get me started on the stupid ancestors. Screw the ancestors. Thank you. Hello. Welcome to the Traditional Values Podcast on this beautiful Nijo Gija Good. It's the second day, baby doll. Second day. Nijo Gija Good. Nij. Two. Nijo. Second. I second that. You second that, huh? You got it. You always got my back, don't you? I do. Thank you. Okay. But what can I say about Tuesdays? Well, isn't Tuesday, dig if you will, a picture day? Oh, yeah. Tuesdays have traditionally been, speaking of tradition, in the Anishinaabe way, it's very important that we recognize tradition. It is our traditions which sustain us, which defines us. Or something. And so on our show, we have this tradition of Tuesdays being, dig if you will, this picture day. Dig if you will, this picture of you and I engaged in a kiss. The sweat of your body covers me. Can, my darling, can you picture this? Nah! Dig, if you will, this picture. At the end of Prince's life, he grew his afro back. He was like, you know what? I'm sick of having white guy hair. I'm going to grow out my black Q-tip. And he brought back... And I think of everybody who's ever had an afro, Prince wore it probably the best. But it's a pretty ridiculous look, if you ask me. That's racist! Why is that racist? Because, you know, African Americans, the Afro-Americans. No, it's a terrible hairstyle. They know it. That's why black women don't walk around with black Q-tip heads. They wear wigs. You get weaves. I'd rather have flowing braids than a black Q-tip as a head. But you don't think that's racist? No. In fact, pretending that this doesn't look ridiculous is sort of racist and pandering. What, you think black people can't handle the truth? Let me tell you something. They've been through a lot more than you think. So today, on this Dig If You Will a Picture Day, speaking of the blacks, speaking of the Mukadewi us, you want to tell me in this picture I know I talked about this before, but don't think we've forgotten Morgan Freeman. You're not fooling anybody. You are indeed Jimi Hendrix. They sure look alike. They're the same person. You think just because you grew some freckles that you hide? That's a worse disguise than Clark Kent. With the glasses? Yeah. At least Clark Kent puts on some glasses and person can go, hey, is that super buff guy with the same haircut and facial features? Superman? Oh no, he's wearing glasses. Nah, couldn't be. Well, it's like this. Oh, I'm Morgan Freeman. Wait, I thought you died, Jimi Hendrix. No, that's somebody else. See, I got freckles. I don't even know how to play guitar. I'm an actor. You can trust me. It's like, what's your real name, Jimi Hendrix? Is it Jimmy? Is it Morgan? The free man? All these people on the world stage. This is what I want to talk about today. It's not a conspiracy theory. I'm just pointing out stuff with our own eyes. You know, people talk about the colonized mind. You know, your education and the media and your, the brainwashing of the boarding schools and blah, blah, blah. Everything has been kind of designed not just to blind like the prophecies we talk about. It wasn't just to blind native people when they said we'd lose our vision. Yeah, huh? They said we'd be blind. We wouldn't be able to see. We'd have no goals. We wouldn't have plans for the future. But also we'd be living in illusion. So when something obvious, like the sun and the moon being the same size, you look at it with your own eyes, you know, they're right there. People can't tell. Well, no, I was trained to believe the sun is 4 times as far away as the moon and 4 times bigger. It's actually 93 million miles away out in space. And we can feel its heat radiate in differences as we view how far away it actually is. I don't know how far away. It's miles, but not millions of miles. But anyway, people can't see anything for their own eyes. They see something, they go, oh yeah, obviously. That's real, that's fake. We can tell. That's the same guy. When they show pictures of the Space Shuttle Challenger crew still alive 35 years later, we all go, yeah, it's the same guy. We understand people get gray hair and, stuff shifts a little bit on the face, but you can't just pretend you're not the same person. Which brings me to another picture. Dig, if you will, this picture. I know you've seen these pictures, sweetie. But the most trusted man in science and medicine. I call him Uncle Tony. Anthony Fauci? You mean Uncle Tony? Yeah. I trust him so much because he used to play guitar for Poison. Yeah. Go ahead. Let your mind... How could it be? This guy who created a poison to fight the flu he created was actually in a band called Poison. Well, the question is he really a doctor or is he really a guitar player? Is he both? Is he neither? Oh no, that couldn't be. They just look alike. And yet, have you ever seen these two guys in the same room together? At the same time, It's like, goes back to that Clark Kent Superman thing. Hey, Clark Kent, so weird. Superman was just here. Oh, really? Oh, I just missed him. I wanted to thank him. Oh, I got a feeling he knows. I think he knows. Wink, wink. You're not fooling anybody, C.C. DeVille. Oh, Devil. That's the other thing. His name was C.C. DeVille. which is a, fun way of rockin' stars to call himself the devil. He's the CC devil. Okay, little kids, I don't want you listening right now. Go out, turn the channel to Sesame Street for a minute. This isn't Sesame Street. I gotta talk about something gross. Do you guys know what a CC is? Like CC Rider? What? CC Rider. It's an Elvis Presley song. Yeah. Do you know what he's talking about? I don't know what. Well, the second C stands for carousel. There's a C carousel rider. And these guys talk about certain types of women who ride the CC, until they, return to the streets from whence they came. It's a CC rider. So he's saying he's a, what's the Ojibwe word? Bakakukwanak. He's a Bakakukwanak rider. He's a Pajagan rider. Carousel rider. Anyway, so it's just gross, and I think part of the huge deception that all these guys are actors. He's not even a real guy. Some dude playing a reality star on the world stage because his character as the lead guitar player of a band called Poison is up. Or maybe I'm wrong. It's just a theory, sweetie. You got a conspiracy theory? It's a theory of mine. I think they conspired. I wouldn't call it a conspiracy theory per se. Oh, but how about this? There's that new Santa Claus movie everyone's outraged about. Seth Rogen's? Yeah. Apparently there's a new Santa Claus movie out, or a TV show or something. Seth Rogen, the formerly funny person turned social justice warrior, when all the sexual harassment allegations started to fly, he's like, oh, James Franco? I hardly know him. But, so he came out as the biggest feminist loser anyway. So he and Sarah Silverman, another person who used to be funny and is now just so Trump deranged that they're not funny anymore. But they came out with a cartoon or something about Santa Claus being, part of the patriarchy. Oh, and there's another rich white man, and a little lesbian elf wants to be the next Santa Claus. Like it's a job or something. You want to be the next Saint Nicholas? Okay. I'm not sure how you identify as a guy in history. But, what am I talking about? Social justice warriors and Santa Claus? Yeah. Oh, but it's called Santa Inc. And then someone goes, yeah, you know what that means, though. Santa Inc. Satanic. It's satanic. The name of the show is Satanic. And you go, what, doggone it? Why do you guys... Yeah, we already know that Santa's Satan. Can you leave us alone just for the next few weeks? Keep your satanic trans apocalypse stuff out of our holiday. But, so, that's going on. Right on the heels of the gay Santa commercial. I know, that was so gross. You get to see two old men kiss each other. And you're like, ugh. I don't want to see an old man and an old lady kiss each other, let alone these two weirdos. I think it was for Amazon or something. Come on. 'Tis a season for sodomy, I guess. So anyway. Hey, Flat Stuff Earth here. Bonjour, Flat Stuff Earth. Welcome back to the show. Dr. Evil says, I'm offended. My name is my real name. Not a doctor. Not really offended. I think it must be hard to offend someone named Dr. Evils. Um, Jessica says, I'm over here trying to figure out what kind of medicine water to start my day with. Well, it's Tuesday, but it's a deep winter. I'd go with a French roast. You know, the French, they know something about coffee. Underrated. Ooh, Colombia. I get my Colombian coffee. Ooh. Well, guess what? The French have coffee too. It's called French roast. And it's ironically darker than the Colombians. Have you ever thought about that? What do you mean? Why is French roast, a coffee from the white country, actually darker coffee than the Colombian coffee, which is supposed to be from Colombia, where the tan people live? I don't know. It's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy theory. So, this has been, dig if you will, a picture. Oh, should we talk about, okay, here's some pictures. This is my favorite cartoon because it's not even funny, but it'll probably have something to do with our word of the day. If I can find it. So dig if you will a picture. Okay, we'll start with this. They still talk about you. They know. Don't forget your current pet. He listens to everything you say, and they understand stuff. And they probably communicate with your dead pet. So this is a cute cartoon that I really like, where the dog is telling the other dog. But of course, the other dog knows, because they're always with us. So this is a beautiful little cartoon. They still talk about you. But the one I like is called The Beautiful Irony. Here it is. The beautiful irony is our loss is another's reunion. Dig, if you will, this picture. This is what cartoons were sort of invented for. Yeah, no kidding. This is why cartoons are higher art than anything Van Gogh ever dreamt of doing. Yeah. You know, you can convey so much in one quick, accessible, enjoyable drawing with words. That's all a cartoon is. It's a drawing with words. And sometimes that word can be a single letter Z, and the drawing can be somebody sleeping. And you go, wow, look at that cartoon. It's a person sleeping. But this is the beautiful irony, is that, you know, chokes me up. I gotta take that down. Sometimes I get a I get a little melancholy first thing in the morning sometimes. I know, that's weird, huh? I don't know what it is. So, today's Ojibwe word of the day is a very deep, deep discussion. Gagage Minawanagozi, the land of everlasting happiness. What happens when you die? Well, I'm here to tell you. You like my background? You look like somebody on like the 700 Club. Hello. Hello, children. Welcome to the Bible Hour with NANABOOZHOO. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Now, Gagage Minawanagozi winning. The land of everlasting happiness. Most people, at some point in their lives, have been told the story that Indians think when you die, you go to the happy hunting grounds. Whatever that is. What do you mean? Oh, the happy hunting grounds. Okay, what? It's you die, and as your eternal reward, you wake up right back in the woods. Only this time you got a sweet machine gun. There's thousands of deer just lumbering around like cows. And you go, oh, wow, look at me. I get to hunt to my heart's content. Oh, I'm so happy. Take that, you dirty, rotten deer. Oh, I've never been so happy. Thank you, Kichimanadu. Thank you for this eternal happiness we call the happy hunting grounds. Yeah, that makes no sense. And like, is it the happy hunting grounds for the animals? What did the deer do? Did they, well, is it hell for the deer? This is for the evil deer, the ones who gambled too much, cheated on their wives. Transitioned their children into the other gender because they were, bullied wanted to fit into the 2021 agenda. Because they were part of the transpocalypse. Oh yeah, my boy was raised, well, my daughter now. Anyway, so the deer who lived a sinful life, they die, they wake up in the happy hunting grounds. Only for them, it's the unhappy hunting grounds because they get hunted day and night. It's just constant getting shot. The pain of being shot over and over again. The happy hunting grounds. And this has been your Ojibwe cultural religious teachings. Although, did you know there was no word for religion in Ojibwe Moan? I heard that once. Yeah. People love to find words. There is no word for religion. Okay, what are you implying? That we didn't believe in religion? That we didn't have a category? Maybe we didn't know about other religions. It was just talking about the Creator. So, what can I say about the land of everlasting happiness? Well, to begin with, in Ojibwe Moan, lots of times when I pray, or Natasha does most of the praying around here, we'll put out tobacco and we'll say, Gitchimanadu. Gitchimanadu. Although he's not the sun. You don't have to look at the sun. A lot of people are like, oh, that must be God himself. No, he made the sun. Not to, not to be irreverent to the Creator, but, whatever. It's just the sun. But the Great Spirit we call the Gitchimanadu. Great Spirit. It's really because we don't really have, Spirit was a very general term for something that wasn't a human being. Something that wasn't material, something you couldn't quite pick up and hold in your hands. And then he was the greatest version of that. The Great Spirit. But in the Ojibwe language, if you were a Christian person, you might say, Nusana wakwing ebiyan. Nusana is our Father. Wakwing in ebiyan, heaven. What do you mean? I thought heaven was Gagige Minawana Gozi, winning. How do I say that? I better read it. I'm mispronouncing it. Gagige is the land of Minawanagozi. I misspelled it. Minawana is what it's supposed to be. Like Neiman Waindam, happy. Minawanagozi, winning, is happiness that lasts forever. It never ends. That's heaven. It was like a description of heaven. It is a place ultimately of, this joyful reunion. This bitter irony for us, and the heaven, I believe, and in our way, we think ultimately is a happy ending. Assuming, of course, that you lived a good life. Apparently, there is a eternal, whatever, judgment of good and evil. There are two paths. I didn't have a good background for hell, but I'm sure there's plenty on the internet to find. But it's a land of everlasting happiness. What do we know about it? There are countless first-person experiences, testimonies or whatever, of the near-death experience where people die and they claim they felt like they left their body but could somehow still see their body from afar, and they floated away, oftentimes into a bright light. And they say stuff that no person who didn't experience could ever begin to understand. I felt enveloped by, this great love. So what are you talking about? Just imagine the most perfect, warm love. It's like, you mean my affection for my cat Bagheera? I don't know what you're talking about. Love doesn't usually, like the sun's heat version of love. But also the enormous sense of peace. They never want to come back to like, yeah, whatever. Dying hurts, but being dead is not hard. Being dead feels good. Apparently. When your soul leaves your body, you're great. I think it's like being in a dream. Like when you're in a really weird, very vivid dream, and you just kind of forget about your normal life, that, where you live and all this stuff, and you're just that person in that dream, doing the thing that, I guess, And then you wake up and you go, oh, it's so weird, I forgot all about this stuff. I wasn't nervous, but, It was like this life wasn't even real in my dream life. Any more than my dream life now seems real in my waking life. So crazy, honey. I know. Gagige menawanagozi. Winning. Winning, it's right in the name. When you go to heaven, it's because you win. You won at life. This is all a big contest. Somehow you always knew, in spite of all your philosophy and all your intellect and your logic that was trying to disprove, religious ideas of a creator, or that life has a purpose, or that we're being judged. Part of you kind of, ever since, there's, all of us at one time were a sperm cell racing to the egg. And all of us won that race. We all started out as winners, sweetie. That's right. All the other little cells died that day that we, fertilized the egg that would eventually become us. Eventually, that immediately on that moment of conception became a different human being. All right, do I have to get into this talk, pro-choicers? I'm sure I'm not allowed to weigh in on that anymore on YouTube either. But Gagige Menawana Gozi winning. It is the land of everlasting happiness. I've heard some crazy testimonies, some very in-depth stories of near-death experiences, on YouTube. There's been more than one. I know of two off the top of my head, maybe three on the top of my head, of people who are still living today who, medically flatlined, died on the table for a short amount of time. And when they were revived, came back with stories of leaving their body, going to heaven. And when they came back, they could paint really well. See, now I wish I'd pulled up those pictures, but I don't want to waste time. It is Dig If You Will a picture day. Should I? Yeah, just grab one. All right. There was a little girl whose name I'm not going to remember. I saw a special where she died. And when she came back, she said she had met Jesus and all this stuff. And even though she was only 9 or 10 years old or something, she was like a masterful oil painter. And she painted these paintings. And she also came back super religious. It was Jeremiah 29:11. I don't know what verse that is. But this is a little kid that painted these paintings. With skills that she acquired after dying and going to heaven and coming back. And I heard of another guy, a similar thing, who came back. He was a regular guy, kind of a non-believer. I think he was a teacher and had a normal life. You know, house and car and respect in the community, whatever. But he wasn't religious at all. And when he came back, he just gave up his job as a college teacher or whatever and started painting and then wrote a symphony. He was like, yeah, I don't know. I thought, why not? Why can't I write a symphony? And they showed him, it was like 5 years after his near-death experience, and he had a bunch of paintings in his room. He had written a book about his experience, illustrated the cover, and the Philharmonic Orchestra, whatever, was going to play his amazing musical number that he wrote in his house as a regular guy who no longer cared about material stuff, but just wanted to be creative. And you go, what? Okay. Apparently you got to die to be a good painter these days. So, I don't know. Hey, Papa Wagosh is back. Papa Wagosh says, considering the bizarreness of the phenomenon, it is really hard to say. It could be merely a glitch of the brain. Wait for it. Watching some sort of very intense deja vu so potent that it convinces a person they are reliving the same moments in time over and over again. Way down the rabbit hole here, huh? Yeah, sure. Could this be something stranger still? Are these rifts in time that are somehow opening in the fabric of reality to pull these people in? Rifts in time, fabric of reality. You know, we've all been we know what you're talking about because of things like Star Trek. You know, the time-space continuum. You know, but is that really a thing? I don't know. Could this be something? Right. Papa Wagosh is laying down some deep wisdom. Yeah, I don't know. Your knee-jerk reaction is to try to explain away. Well, yeah, you know what happens when you die? Your brain releases the chemical DMT or whatever, and so it's the same chemical that produces dreams. And so upon death, the brain gets flooded with DMT, and it's a crazy hallucination that for some reason has, you know, certain universal qualities that people see stuff. You know, some people called the was it ayahuasca or one of these mind-altering drugs? They called it when they first were studying it. What is that when you can read a person's thoughts? Telekinetics. It was the first word I used to know about that. You know, when you can read a person's mind. I mean, people we don't know so much. I think it's a Shakespeare quote to something like, you know, there's more in the unseen world than can be known in this place or something. And that's not a direct quote. That's not a direct Shakespearean quote. No, I don't think so. Wally Bear is back. Hey, BOOZHOO, Wally Bear. Hey, Wally Bear. Red pill or the blue pill? Yeah, what's it gonna be? I don't know. Sweetie, will you teleport me out of the sky and back to the office? Yeah, sure. 1 to teleport. Make it so. Wait, no, I say that. Oh, right, sorry. You go ahead. 1 to teleport. Make it so, number 1. Hey, baby doll. Groovy, man. Welcome back. I feel like I was just in heaven. Kagige Menawana Gozi winning. The land of everlasting happiness. Heaven. Say hello to heaven. Then there's also always the argument that it's just, wishful thinking. We naturally want to create a story, try to find evidence, hope against hope that somehow even after death we don't really die. That there's a thing that we can't quite, measure or hold in our hands called a soul that never dies. So we don't have to quite face the brutal reality that, hey, you know what? Your dog Rover, dead. Never going to be alive again, deader than dead. You think you miss him now, just wait 50 years from now. It's going to be this times 50 because your dog's dead. They got no soul. There's no such thing as heaven. That's a fairy tale. Boy. Why is that guy such a redneck? I don't know. Just hateful. But he might be right. The more people I lose to death, the more convinced of heaven I am. But am I just convincing myself? Probably. Who knows? I don't know. Hey, sweetie, you want to take a call? Oh, sure. Line 2? Line 2. Hello, caller. Welcome to the BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO podcast. You're on the air. Hey, dude. How you doing? Well, hey, Keanu Reeves. Sweetie, Keanu Reeves is on the phone. Well, hi, Keanu Reeves. What's going on? Hey there, Natasha. I'm doing all right. I can't really complain. I can't complain. That's great. What can I do for you today? Well, I noticed you were talking about the red pill and the blue pill. Dude, let me tell you something. Don't take that red pill. Why not? Because, dude, you take the red pill, suddenly you're in a crappy movie doing sequels for the rest of your life. You gotta wear like wet sweaters and to shave your head, and it's really stupid and boring. You think the Matrix is boring? Dude, I live in the Matrix. I can't get out of it. Everywhere I go, it's like, hey, there's Neo. You're the one we're waiting for. Show us some judo moves. I'm like, dude, I'm just an actor. Do people really think you're the character from those movies? Yeah, man, I can't even walk around. I used to be able to take public transportation. Now I can't. I gotta ride around in my limousine. Oh, really? That must suck. Yeah, man. You don't ever want to be famous. Be glad your podcast isn't more popular, man. Because you get famous like me, you never have a moment's peace. You never have a moment's peace. Yeah, imagine, huh? Hey, NanaBOOZHOO. Yeah? Can you teach me an Ojibwe word of the day, dude? Well, sure. I'll teach you some Ojibwe. Well, first of all, Nijo, Gija good, means second day. Nijo Gija good, second day, or Tuesday. All right, gnarly, dude. And then we've also got, we were talking about the land of everlasting happiness, heaven. And then we say, Gagige, Mina, I forgot to put the N there, Mina wana gozi winning. Gagige, Mina wana gozi winning. Land of everlasting happiness. So that's what heaven is? Yeah, I guess so. That's radical, dude. If you take the red pill, you wake up in a dystopic future. That's what I remember from that movie, kind of. Yeah, don't take the red pill, dude. You'll end up having to fight monsters or something. Do you really fight monsters? I can't remember that movie too well. I don't know. I shoot a lot of guns and I do some karate. Yeah, you gotta shoot a guy in sunglasses, even indoors. If you take the red pill, dude, you gotta wear sunglasses inside. It's like a dystopic dis-future. Dystopic dis-future. Wow, that sounds really horrible. In this crazy red-pilled dystopia, are you dating like an old lady? That's right, dude. I'm dating a senior citizen. You want to say hi? Every time. Yeah, sure. Let me talk to her. What's her name? I just call her my girlfriend, you know, because I don't care about looks and I don't care about labels. You know, we're in love, and if you don't like it, well, that's your problem, not mine. Hey, my girlfriend, would you like to be on the BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO podcast? Want to say hi to NANABOOZHOO? Eh? What's that, Shady? I said, do you want to talk to NANABOOZHOO? Okay. All right, hang on. I'm going to bring her over. Hello? Hello, Shady? Oh, dear me. Hello, Keanu Reeves' girlfriend. I said, hello, Keanu Reeves' girlfriend. How are you? I don't know, sweetie. I'm not feeling so good. I think I might be dying soon. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Are you about to start your journey? That's what we call it, huh, sweetie? Yeah, we always say starting your journey. Are you going to go to the land of everlasting happiness because of natural causes? Where's that, Sonny? Are you pooping yourself? I just pooped my pants. Yeah. So yeah, land of everlasting happiness. How you feeling? I don't feel so. I gotta go lay down. Honey, I gotta lay down. Oh, okay, dear. I'll be right in and change diaper. Well, there you go, NANABOOZHOO. That was my girlfriend. Don't know her name, don't know her age, don't even care. That's how rockin' cool I am. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. In a gross sort of way. So yeah, so we were talking about heaven, which I'm sure your girlfriend will be going to because she seems lovely. Yeah, she's a good girl. You know, she'll go to heaven for sure. She'll be with the Gitche Manadu, the Great Spirit. You think she's going to be with our Father who's art in heaven? Yeah, she'll be with Nusana Wakwing Abion. Nusana Wakwing Abion. Our Father art in heaven. Oh, that's all right. That's all right. That's gnarly, dude. Yeah, sure is. So, how's everything else? Oh, you know, not too bad. Just working on the movies, riding around in my limousine, and taking care of my girlfriend. Hey, Shady, can you change my diaper? I better get going, NANABOOZHOO. Gotta go change her depends. Okay. Well, hey, man, Gigawaba Min, Minowa. I'll see you again, Keanu. Yeah, dude. Gigawaba Min, Minowa. Hey, very good. See you later, buddy. Keanu Reeves, sweetie. He is so awesome. Yeah, he sure is. Just Training Videos is back. BOOZHOO Just Training Videos. Oh, nice to see you. We're making Just Training crack up, sweetie. Really? Yep. Just Training says, I think I had my white smiley a while back. A white smiley. Just Training Videos might have flaked off from the Incredible Hulk in Rocky on Paw Patrol. What are these guys up to? What is the BOOZHOO crew writing about, sweetie? We're way behind. Papa Wago says, no matter where the answers may lie, such cases as we have looked at here certainly invite speculations and ruminations. We must speculate and ruminate on the nature of our universe, our reality, and time itself. That's all I got. Yeah, time is another one of those elusive things. They say time is the fourth dimension. First dimension, how's that work? One dimension is drawings. Two-dimensional is being in person. Three-dimensional is, foreground, me in the background. And the fourth dimension is time. I don't understand that. I don't understand it either, sweetie. I just don't know. I just don't care. You want to get up here and say hello? I could get up there and say hello. You want to play a song first? Yeah. Let's play a song by Michael Lyons. We got a whole collection here underneath Welcome. Is this real?
Andi ea nana boozhoo, andi ea nana boozhoo.
O ma binin, o ma binin.
Anin eji ea yan,
Mimi no ea miigwech.
giga waba min, minawa. Andi ea anamosh, andi ea anamosh.
O ma binin, o ma binin.
Anin eji ea yan,
Mimi no ea miigwech.
giga waba min, minawa. Andi ea Benjamin, andi ea Benjamin.
O ma binin, o ma binin.
Anin eji ea yan,
Mimi no ea miigwech.
giga waba min, minawa. Andi ea Michael, andi ea Michael.
O ma binin, o ma binin.
Anin eji ea ya,
Mimi no ea miigwech.
giga waba min, minawa.
BOOZHOO! And welcome back to the show. Natasha and Indigenous cause. Natasha is my name. Neben Windham. G-A-I-N-O-Ma-Nungum. I'm happy to be here today. And what should we talk about, sweetie?
You can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
All right. Enough of this clowning around. Let's talk about something real. Seinfeld is not as funny as you remember. This and more controversial issues will be discussed on Time for Natasha. No. Today, let's just review a little bit. What were we talking about on this Nijo Geisha Good? Kakike Minawana Gozi winning, land of everlasting happiness.
What do you think happens when we die, sweetie?
What do I think? What do I know? Nothing. I'm just a little girl. I got more questions than answers. But you know what? One thing I do know?
What's that?
I don't know if I know this. I feel like we have a spirit, a soul. I feel like we got some sort of hard to define thing inside of us that gets inspired by something else that we could call the Great Spirit. Sometimes when I pray, and sometimes it just feels like a weird mystery of like where funny ideas come from or why certain people come into your life. You know? And it's like everywhere and it's so huge. But at the same time, if you take the blue pill, you just get involved in your life and your money and your job and your stuff and entertaining yourself and being afraid of stuff and trying to whatever. And you get caught up in the rat race of life that you stop seeing all the spiritual stuff. You know, like where melodies for songs come from. You know, where inspirations, you know, how did you think of that joke to say at that moment? Why did you talk about this thing? How come this weird course of events came together and these people in your life, you know? Sometimes it feels like there's something going on and we're all involved in it. Trying to be seen. Sometimes I feel like there's the Great Spirit's trying to reveal himself. But even as I say that, I don't think I know what I'm talking about. Should I go pray to get Jimanadu?
Yeah, do you want me to just teleport you to heaven?
Yeah, let's do that for a change. It's too cold outside. Would you mind teleporting me to gates of heaven itself or whatever.
Well, I don't know if there's actually literal gates. I'm just going to teleport you back to where I was standing.
Okay. 1 to teleport, number 1.
We're screwing that up. I say 1 to teleport, and then you say, make it so.
Oh, right.
1 to teleport.
Make it so, number 1. Nah. Oh, I can't believe it. I'm in heaven. Nah. All right, so give me grab a little tobacco, a little asema, bungi asema. It's just a little tobacco, a little pinch. They say spirits are really little. I've heard people say, oh yeah, they're like little mosquitoes. They don't need much. If you're going to put out a spirit plate, you don't have to load it up like you're getting a second plate for your auntie at home. You could just put a little bit of rice, put a little bit of everything on there. And just a pinch of tobacco. But I'm going to go out here, I'm going to say, Udabadabana, Niwi Asema, Kichimanadu, accept my tobacco, great spirit. Ni mi kwachi wendam, wa'ao, bamadaziyan. I'm grateful for this life. Mi kwach ka iji chikea nungum, ka iji chikea nungum. Thank you for everything that you do today, even though I just said that wrong. Kakina gegu, ka iji chikea nungum. You know what I'm saying. Thank you for my health and for providing for us. Thanks for providing for us, Kichimanadu.
Oh, you're very welcome, me daughter.
Why? Kichimanadu, you guys. Thank you for all the inspiration with this show. I mean, I know it's ridiculous. I know it. We're not Michelangelo. Okay? I know it's just dumb jokes and, whatever. But for us, it feels like inspired humor sometimes. Sometimes when we watch it after the show is over, we're just so impressed with ourselves. Going, wow, that looks so cool. I've never seen such a thing. And I'll make myself genuinely laugh from stuff I said just a half hour earlier. But I feel like you kind of put that joke out through us. So miigwech for all the inspiration. Miigwech for the people who don't not just support us financially, but write the encouraging comments. And the BOOZHOO crew for showing up, Kichimanadu. Whenever I pray, I'm always reminded that I get to a point where I have to go, you know what, I guess outside of just thanking you for everything, I still don't think I understand what prayer is. I know you're not a genie to make wishes upon. I'm not going to wish upon a star, I don't think that's what prayer is supposed to be. But I know I've seen people do that time and again. Every story is about answered or non-answered prayer, But, sometimes in all humility, I don't feel I'm clearly unworthy. I would never suggest to tell the Great Spirit what to do. So for even something like, please heal this, wart on my wrist, please restore my eyesight to 2020. I mean, what is that? I can't just pray for stuff. Please keep me healthy forever. That seems ridiculous. But if I was just asking for stuff, I would say, yeah, please keep it up. Help us just keep living and keep us safe. Lead me not into temptation. Deliver me from evil. Don't let me screw up my life. You know, if nothing else, if you can't keep me young, can you at least make me wise so I keep myself out of trouble? I don't know. And even as I say this, I'm going, is this what prayer is? Talking to myself? Or talking to you, and you're just quietly not answering?
I'm always listening.
I know you're listening, but lots of times I just pray and you never say anything.
You know, I speak to you more than I speak to almost anybody, Nindonas.
I know. And still, I don't understand prayer. What does that tell you? But anyway, it seemed like it was a big deal to our ancestors. I know it was a big deal to my grandmother. She prayed many times a day. She'd pray before she'd have some coffee and toast. Let's say, little Grace, oh, thank you for my coffee and toast, Creator. You know, and I'd be like, hey, I just made that coffee and toast. Why don't you thank me? But, so, let me say, in closing of this weird prayer, this is the other thing, my evangelical upbringing, you know, I also got in the habit of constantly begging for forgiveness. Oh, please forgive me for living. I'm sorry I'm such a wretch. Please forgive a wretch like me. And after a while, you're like, you know what? If I were God, I don't think I'd want to hear my daughter constantly saying, sorry. I just had another dirty thought. Sorry. Sorry for that. You know. Sorry. So if you don't want us to be constantly begging for forgiveness, or just listing all of our thank yous, I don't think you want that either. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my luscious hair. Thank you for my boyfriend. Thank you for my BOOZHOO crew. Thank you for, you know, making me a guitar player or whatever. So what's left? What do you pray for? Do I really ask for stuff? Do I have the wisdom to know the right stuff to ask? And what do I say? Please give my parents perfect health. Make it so my parents never die or age. Why would I do that? You know, please exact revenge on my enemies. You know, careful what you pray for and who you pray against. Please. Please get back at my enemies. I want to feast on the blood. I want to dance in the graves of those who mocked me. You know, whatever. Like, I want to say thank you for not giving me any enemies. I think. I know we're not everybody's cup of tea. I'm not saying everybody loves me. But, you know, I don't hate anybody, and I don't think anybody hates me. Really hates me. So, I hate that girl. If I just want to punch her in the face. I don't think that's my problem. So, thanks for that, too. Anyway, having said all that, me quetch biz and dawi egg. Kitchi manadu. Thank you for listening to me, Great Spirit, on this beautiful day. A being gay. Amen.
Well, you're very welcome, me daughter.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Kitchi manadu.
Well, BOOZHOO crew. So nice to see ye.
I'm ready to go back.
Okay. Bloop. Okay, BOOZHOO.
Hi, baby doll.
Hello, Natasha. Did you want me to teleport you back from the being up in the sky?
Yeah, could you? I'm afraid I'm going to stop floating up here. Ooh.
All right, one to teleport.
Make it so, number one. No.
Hey, welcome back.
Thank you.
How was it up there in the sky?
Beautiful. I prayed to get you Manadu.
And did he talk to you?
Yeah, he sure did.
He always does that.
Yeah, a little bit, not a lot. Anyway. But, I talked a little bit about how little I understand prayer while I was praying. It's like, dear Great Spirit, please help me understand this thing I'm doing right now, because I don't know what's going on. The more I do it, the more compelled. And that's what makes me think there's more, that we probably are spirits who communicate with the Great Spirit. And then I get just enough red pill to go, wow, I don't really even understand that. The more, man, I blow my own mind some mornings.
Yeah.
So anyway, looks like that's about all the time we have for today, huh, sweetie?
Yep. You want to tell him I said thanks?
Yeah, sure. Well, everybody, NanaBOOZHOO here would like to say miigwech bisandawieg. Thank you for listening. Michael, you want to add anything?
No, just tell him I said thanks.
Thank you so much from Michael for listening. If you'd like to support the show, we've got a Patreon page and a PayPal page and a GoFundMe page. And Michael has Ojibwe language books for sale on Amazon.com. And, yeah. Having said that, miigwech ganawabieg. Thank you for watching. Where's the intro? Oh, it's up here. BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, the podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. I am Natasha. This is NanaBOOZHOO.
Okay.
This is Michael Lyons.
Thanks so much.
And I will see you again. Giga Wabamin Minawa. Oh, what? Sweetie,
One to teleport.
make it so, number one. Na 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 na. See you tomorrow.
All right.